Hello everyone, it's a Tin Man here, doing another live. Lives are nice because, you can do a lot of fresh thinking. So that's why I kind of like the lives, to some extent. Nobody out there yet, so I'll freshen up a bit. Excusez-moi. Keep the noise down. I got a bit of a poor connection, but, I'm kind of in here how I like to be in here now. Cut down on the noise on the outside. Brighten her up a little bit. So Darwin, I want to start by repeating a comment by Charles Darwin. In 1879, he wrote a letter to a co-worker scientist. And Charles said, "The rapid development, as far as we can judge," he would be referring to science, people who are involved in the science part of it, "that we can judge of all the higher plants within recent geological time is an abominable mystery." So they're almost saying that I've looked into it, and there's really nothing that is supporting that that they really have any idea on what's all going on with the evolution of trees. If you really think about it, if they really did know trees better than we think we do, we'd be looking at it with more of a humane process, I believe. Looking at trees and forestry and stuff like that, we really would be. We'd be understanding something on a whole new level. And see, what Charles Darwin did for a lot of minds was, he first was a guy, doing whatever he was doing and being as smart as he was. But he had a high interest in bugs and beetles and stuff. So he got an opportunity to go out there and collect. And he went out there and collected tons of different species of different things. Got into some ocean stuff, land, jungles, so on and so forth. When it comes to plant life and stuff, I didn't look into him like that by punching him in that way, see it that way. But I do know this, that you could tell it wasn't about the forest to him. It was about something that had a different level of life in it. And so it doesn't seem like he processed much thought on the forest. Part of the reason, we start from base of information generally when we start to think about something, right? And so when we're coming from the base of something and we're searching out who has the best information on where the evolution of trees, plant lives, large plant life species, like, who's the person out there saying, other than our botanists now, who just will butcher off a limb, will, these horticulturalists and the pruners and all that kind of stuff, all we do is just butcher off a tree. And then there's these odd places out there that, maybe gimmickly or maybe even honestly behind it are trying, sell items that you could put on that wound that day or whatever type thing when you do it, and maybe the tree feels a little bit better, right? But there's really no science behind that. And there's no science behind Darwin supporting, and he's one of the guys that went out there. So I went further than him, and maybe I should have taken a little bit more notes on it and stuff, but just punch up into Google yourself Darwin and trees, or any big, whatever you can think, and that's a conversation that is included with Bigfoot. And so much of our answers in regarding Bigfoot will be behind this. We're going to understand respect better. We're going to understand a lot more. If we start truly going out there into the forest and into the jungles and stuff, and not these lab rat guys who just go out there, hey, Bigfoot Memphis, how you doing, brother? Not like these lab rats and stuff that go out there, but just finishing a thought off there. Not much going on here today. I just want more people getting onto a hook of trying to figure out, I look out there and I see no real history talking about our trees, of a clue of what's really gone on with them. It's so easy for us to look through the geology of Earth and get ideas about plants, and it's kind of just bland. There's no information telling us, other than they've been here forever, but there's no information that really tells us what they're about and how they're about and stuff. Nothing. And so Darwin went out there and he collects a whole bunch of bugs and stuff and starts teaching us about these world abundance of bugs. Some of them were already pre-discovered, but he was added a lot to the collections of the world. And he starts telling anybody who's interested what those bugs are about. He starts telling about how they do mating and blah, blah, blah. All these different things, characteristics and stuff. And the whole time he does this, he doesn't look at the characteristics of trees. Okay? So he's one of the great minds that went past it. So many different people with great minds haven't really started honestly looking at trees. And the proof is, and the people who are the people that are treating them so special, even if they have to cut them and stuff like that. Realizing them down to that. Because, like with the beetle bug, as far as I'd understand, a scientist wanted this beetle and he had to kill it to put it on his pegboard or whatever. I don't know if he would do that, or I'm assuming they would. They put it in a little vial or whatever type thing. They do some kind of a thing that try to kill it off, I would imagine. They don't just stick the pin through its brain or whatever type thing and stick it onto the thing. But that's what we do with trees. And they deserve more respect than that. And once you understand that they deserve more respect than that, and you start treating them, it doesn't mean we don't get to use them for firewood. You just have to come into a real respect for trees. Once you start respecting trees like that, and then you're out there looking around for Bigfoot and stuff, that's when your message changes a lot. That's one of the things that I've come to understand. And really, because so much of my childhood and different things like this, I've always really enjoyed trees. And when I first started this walk of figuring out what I figured out with the Bigfoot so far in this last year and so, is my biggest interest was the trees. And I just started to be able to see different signs of monkeying around with the trees, whether it's a bird or squirrel or whatever it was. And that's led me on my path. And along on this path, then I came to realize Darwin knows nothing about the trees. He knew so little about the trees, he didn't even really have an understanding how they came. And if we start to look into that, which I've been starting to do a little bit, I think we're going to come up with just a silly guessing game. Sometimes the scientists will do the same thing that us laymen do, and we just put out an answer anyways for your kid or whatever type thing. We just put out an answer. And so they'll have those answers about, this is where the trees came from. Just this put out answer. Like I'm watching different shows and they're talking about how we aged the trees and stuff like that. And then they have these little excuses for extra rings and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, those rings might have to do with that factor you're talking about. But it's the information I'm talking about. You're going to get to add to all that information. There's a way to look at it too scientifically where you can, because how Bigfoot affects the growth of a tree. You leave a scar in there. He always has to leave a scar. And that's part of the thing that I've been talking about always with his nicking and different things like this. So that's where I've gone a little bit with that stuff. So it's, that's where I'm going, is I'm trying to figure out a bigger answer for trees. We see some kind of an understanding evolution of bugs and fish and, Darwin thinks we came from monkeys and so on and so forth. I'm not going to, so where I'm standing now, where I've kind of walked on my thinking and stuff, I don't agree with that. I think we're separate from all that. And whether we're a product of Earth or not, I don't really have a comment on that just of yet. And, but I think more answers just from this, guys, is going to be coming there. So, yeah, it's time to change the spread of just thinking you're looking for somebody. Start thinking, how does this somebody live? And how has he fooled us that he's living? And that right there tells you what I've been telling you from the very beginning, is they are fooling us. They're fooling us big time. They're fooling us all the time. And it's kind of that first question. You kind of look and think to yourself, when Patty was walking across there, how come she didn't fool those guys? Like, if she's a fooler and stuff. Well, there's all that reason behind that. I'm coming into here and, hey, how's it going, Bigfoot Memphis? You're right. I know. Oh, yeah, hey, right on. I don't agree with anything Darwin says, no? And no, we're not from this planet. Yeah. We all got our stuff that we figure it out or whatever type thing, right? I think that's all in the age that we're in, is we're all figuring it out. It's not like you don't agree with anything with Darwin, but if you go and you look at Patty's film also. Oh no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't see, like, I would like to see how you are claiming that Patty's film is a fooling. Did you ever talk about that on your channel? I've studied that one pretty good myself, so. We're all having our different ideas on what's going on out there, so that's kind of they weren't chasing Patty, no. She wasn't running, she's just walking. I did a whole talk on that, on one of my things there, where I gave my 2 bits of what I believe went down there. And yeah, that's to me, you got to really put your mind about what's going on out there in the forest, and all of a sudden she's being seen, and you got to try to get inside of her head. Because they killed her other half. Nah. No, I've never even heard that before. That's silly, and if you ever listen to his partner who's still alive there and talks and stuff like that, you got to put faith in humanity. If you're a destroyed person and you think everybody is out to conspiracize and stuff like that, think about it yourself. How many conspiracies have you done in life? Then why, if you haven't really done any, then why is everybody else supposedly doing stuff like that? Especially guys like that, like Patty Patterson and Gimli, they're not of, you look at Gimlin and stuff, he's of nothing of that nature of a human being. So But anyways, I mostly just came on because you've seen the original cut or something. Right. But, yeah, so what am I saying here? Yeah, if you guys want to understand where I'm really connecting with these guys and how I've connected with them, it is really watching the forest, watching it all and understanding it and watching it through the ways that I've been talking about it and how I've been figuring out how to do it and stuff, and or how they're doing it and different things like this, and just see if it works for you. If not, no biggie. It's not the end of the world. We're just doing what we're doing. Peace out from the Tin Man. Nice shorty. Yeah, you figure it's a lie? I don't know, man. I don't get that myself out of that. Alrighty, y'all. Peace out. Tin Man.